Good morning, Canada. It's Friday, March the 6th. Thank goodness, right? We are almost at the weekend, and here's what we're working on today. Cold today, mild tomorrow for much of Ontario and parts of eastern Canada. Windy across most of the country, and long-range relief. Spring is on the way. Let's begin our weather story in Birchie Bay. Wind chills are going to be feeling like minus 22, and it's a similar story across the board for Atlantic Canada. Check out these numbers this morning. Halifax, it's going to be feeling like minus 21. So today is definitely the kind of day you want to start the car a little bit early, dress in lots of layers, and remember, the less exposed skin, the better. But it could be worse. Let's head further to the north where we have extreme cold warnings in place for Iqaluit. Also further to the north where we are talking about wind chills, minus 50 to minus 55. These are dangerous. It only takes about 2 minutes for frostbite to kick in, so please take care if you're heading out today, but you know the drill. As we head into Quebec, also dealing with those chilly temperatures, but high pressure is in place, so we do have sunny skies, so that's the good news. Let's head into Ontario. Cold February that we had, and it's also going to be a cold morning for southern Ontario. Yet another extreme cold warning in place, including Barrie, Kawarthas, Peterborough. We are talking about wind chills in the minus 30s. Now, as we go throughout the day, those temperatures, they are going to increase. We have a southerly flow of air, and you'll see the blues. That means temperatures in the minus single digits as opposed to the minus double digits that we saw yesterday. And good news is on the way. As we move into Saturday morning, watch this warm front. That's the red line there. In behind it, you begin to see those light aquas. Those are temperatures right around the freezing mark, seasonal. And those temperatures next week, well, they're going to get even warmer. More on that shortly. Thanks so much, Jacqueline. And we are certainly going to be feeling those wind chills in the east today. I'll tell you more about that momentarily. But first, good morning. Michelle Mackey joining you. Let's begin our weather story with a recap. Thursday high temperatures. Where we see the blues, that's an indication of temperatures below seasonal. And oranges, that's above seasonal. Of note, Yellowknife sitting at minus 10 as a high. A similar story in Toronto. It's chilly. It's also going to be chilly in the east this morning. You can see across the country really getting into those darker shades, those blues, those purples, indicating temperatures at minus 15 or below before we factor in those wind chills. Those temperatures, yeah, they're really going to be cold with the wind chills. Let's talk about the winds. You can see through New Brunswick, yeah, they are going to be quite calm, but as we get into the Maritimes up through Newfoundland, those westerly winds are going to pick up through the afternoon, sustain between 20-40 kilometers an hour. Blowing snow is certainly going to be an issue, particularly along the western shores of Newfoundland as we move into the weekend. Wind chills through the Maritimes this morning. Lots of minus 20s, the blues. That's your feels like temperature. Layer up, dress the kids in lots of warm clothes. Not necessarily the snow gear like earlier this week. It's dressing warm. Through New Brunswick, again, not much of that wind chill, but it's certainly feeling cold thanks to all of that Arctic high pressure. Speaking of Arctic, let's head further to the north where we have an extreme cold warning in place for the areas highlighted, minus 50 to minus 55 wind chill. In the last segment, I believe I mentioned, only going to take about 2 minutes for frostbite to kick in. It's actually less for that. Exposed skin freezes like that. This morning through southern parts of Quebec, minus 28 is what it's going to be feeling like in Montreal. Getting so close. But first, we do have an extreme cold warning to deal with. I'll tell you more about that throughout the hour. Stay with us. Your locals, they're coming up next on the 10s, as well as your national forecast. It's Friday, March the 6th. I'm Michelle Mackey, joined by meteorologist Nicole Karkik. Let's begin our weather story with a recap, shall we?
Right. Okay, so a couple things stand out here, Michelle. We've got anything listed in orange, temperatures that are above average. So Calgary, 11 degrees yesterday. We were talking about this at the briefing. Yellowknife on Thursday was minus 10, and so was Toronto.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Now, those are pretty chilly temperatures. It's also going to be chilly as we head into the east.
Very chilly. And you can see the sun was rising there, Michelle, rising around around this time of year, about 6:42. But this Sunday, remember everyone, we changed those clocks. We're springing forward for which provinces do participate in that. This morning, a little bit breezy. We've got some blowing snow, Michelle.
Yeah, we do. And we could potentially see some sea effect snow along the western shores just because we have that strong westerly wind, and wind chill's also going to be a factor.
Yeah, definitely. Downright cold today as we head into the weekend, a little bit warmer, and into next week, a lot warmer. This afternoon, Halifax feeling like -11, Sydney -11, Fredericton -13. So those are the numbers you are dressing for.
That's right. It's definitely a good day in the east to give your car a little bit of extra time to warm up.
Yes.
Similar as we head into Quebec, you know, widespread, the minus mid-teens. That's what it's feeling like.
Exactly. And don't worry, this is going to change into next week, I promise.
Cold, you know?
Totally.
Embrace the winter, get outside and enjoy it. Here's a look at our temperatures this morning. Yes, we are still dealing with those winds, the purples. That's temperatures indicative of -15 or below. But look at all of these blues coming into play.
Exactly. Haven't seen this in a while on these maps. We're showing you this because as we head into the weekend, we get a southerly push, little system that's going to bring us a shot of snow Saturday afternoon across southern Ontario. Really isn't too much. It should happen late in the afternoon for the Greater Toronto region, then Ottawa and Montreal. But Michelle, look at those nice light blues, sort of the aqua color showing up here.
That's right. It's been a while since we've seen that.
Absolutely.
I'm quite happy with it. Here's what we can expect for the next 7 days in Toronto. There's your snow on Saturday, but look at some of these temperatures.
Getting up to +5 on Wednesday. That'll be above average. And towards the west, coming up, we'll talk more about when you're seeing rain in BC.
Good morning, Canada. I'm Michelle Mackey for the Weather Network. Here's what we're working on today. Our developing stories. Cold today, but we are going to see a mild trend across, well, most of the country into this weekend and beyond. Windy also across the country, and long-range relief. Spring is on the way. Looking at our current systems, we are tracking 2 clippers through the prairies. The first one, it's quite moisture-starved, so it could bring some very light snowfall to northern Ontario. This is what we're tracking as we move into the weekend for Ontario. More on that shortly. First, let's talk about our wind chills through southern Ontario. Absolutely frigid. We are talking about temperatures through the city of Toronto feeling like -22. And outside in the city of Toronto is Rachel. Rachel, where are you, and how about that cold? That's right. Who needs to go south when we've got Calgary and Vancouver, right? Different story, though, as we head into Ontario. Thanks, Rachel. We have an extreme cold warning in place. Barrie, the Kawartha Lakes, Peterborough, my hometown, all included in that extreme cold warning with wind chills through the morning. You saw them. They're in the -20s, -30s, but that is going to moderate throughout the day. Now, as we move into the weekend, I mentioned those clippers. That's what's going to be bringing us the snowfall through Ontario and Quebec. You can see widespread, looking at about 2 to 5 centimeters. But through Toronto, the Golden Horseshoe, we're in that little pocket where we're going to get less than 2 centimeters of snow. Not bad. Now, we talked about the extreme cold warning in Ontario. Let's talk about the extreme cold warning further to the north. The threshold for Environment Canada to create an extreme cold warning north of the tree line, we're talking about temperatures and wind chill in the -50s, and that's exactly what we're seeing as we head into Iqaluit. Also cold in Birchie Bay, and videos as well. And you can do that at upload.theweathernetwork.com. Here's a look at our eastern Canada wind chills. They are quite chilly through Nova Scotia, PEI, and as we get into Quebec as well, Montreal feeling like -28. And that's because we have some sustained winds coming from the northwest. Now let's talk about the historical snow that we've seen this season through much of eastern Canada. These could increase as we move into the week. I'm Michelle Mackey, and it's time for today's installment of Share Your Weather, the chance for you, the viewer, to get a personalized forecast. All you need to do is send us a photo or a video for the chance to get that neighborhood forecast. And today we've chosen Bud Witzke. I hope I'm saying your name right. And he's taken this photo in clear view of a snowman. And I think this snowman is in trouble. Maybe folks a little angry at winter and taking it out on the poor snowman. So lots of ways to connect. Now it's time for the forecast. Clearview, you are going to be topping off at a high of -7, sunny skies. And as we move into the next 7 days, here's what you can expect. We are dealing with some light snowfall, 2 to 5 centimeters on Saturday. In behind it, high pressure building in, lots of sun, and check out some of these temperatures. Next week, we could see highs in the plus single digits. Not too bad. Taking a look at your temperatures across the country. High temperatures this afternoon. It's going to be a chilly one as we head to Atlantic Canada. Also below seasonal through Ontario, and we are seeing a warming trend in the west. Thanks, Chris. And we have more science behind the weather videos online at theweathernetwork.com. Good morning. I'm Michelle Mackey. Let's begin our weather story with a recap of yesterday's high temperatures across the country. Where we see the blues, those are temperatures below seasonal. But check out Calgary in the west. 11 degrees, not bad. Who needs to go south when we can just head to Western Canada? This morning across the country, we are still dealing with those frigid temperatures through the east. We are going to see a rebound, though, as we move into the weekend. I'll tell you more on that in just a moment. But first, let's head outside. Rachel Schutzen, you're in Toronto. Now, I want to say you're at the beaches, but it's the beach, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. It's going to be very interesting. I had a look online. You're in for a treat. All right, let's get back to our weather. Extreme cold warning in place east of Georgian Bay, including Barrie, the Kawartha Lakes, Peterborough, we are talking wind chills in the -30s this morning. I'll get to those numbers in just a moment. But first, 7 is your daytime high, feeling like -16, though, with those strong southwesterly winds. This morning, you can see those temperatures in the mid-20s. Towards Barrie, frigid. Give yourself a little bit of extra time to warm up the car and dress in layers. The less exposed skin, the better. It's a similar story as we head further to the north in northern Ontario. Wind chill values into the mid-20s once again. It's Friday, March the 6th. I'm Michelle Mackey, joined by meteorologist Nicole Karkic. Are you glad it's Friday?
Oh, so glad it's Friday, heading into a nice weekend where we have the time change. So I'm going to lose an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with more sunshine.
Worth it, and because it's a sign of spring
Absolutely.
as well, right?
Okay.
Here's
our
what
top
we're working
headlines. Cold today, mild tomorrow for some. Pretty exciting. Windy across the country and long-range relief in store. We are saying something we haven't said in a while.
That's right.
Parts of the east will be above average into next week.
That's right. Now here's a look at our current systems across the country. Dealing with 2 clippers, that's going to bring us some snow, very light through the prairies as we move into the weekend, and high pressure and cold for today in the east.
Oh, so frigidly cold this morning. We've got Toronto sitting at -15, but feels like -22. Ottawa, you feel like -25, and it doesn't get much warmer into the afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. But it could have been worse. Widespread customers with power outages throughout the GTA.
That's right. I was one of those people. Extreme cold warnings, Barrie over towards Peterborough, feeling close to -30 this morning, so you're just in that criteria. And there is some snow coming this weekend. It will bring some warmer air with the warm front,
Yes.
some southwest winds, but by Saturday morning, it'll be in the north, swinging down to the south by the late afternoon hours towards Toronto. And then Ottawa, Montreal, you will see it by Saturday evening.
Yeah, now, you know what? It could be worse. I would choose snow and warmer weathers over -50 to -55 wind chills any day, Nicole.
Exactly. So Iqaluit, Pond Inlet included in the extreme cold warning. Iqaluit right now feels like -48, so not -50 yet, but close enough, Michelle.
Yeah, exactly. It really doesn't take long for skin to freeze when we're outside in those
Right.
temperatures. Also dealing with pretty chilly wind chills this morning through eastern Canada, generally into the -20s. That's your feels like temperature.
Yeah, Montreal will see some sunshine. Sunshine as well for the east. It's not a bad day if you like the sun. And then
right.
for Saturday, Michelle, we do have the snow moving through southern Ontario, some sea effect for western Newfoundland and Halifax. Truro could see some flurries tomorrow afternoon.
Well, good morning, Canada. Michelle Mackey, happy to be with you this Friday, March the 6th. Heading into the weekend, I'm pretty excited about it. How about you? Let's begin our weather story with a recap. The high temperatures that we saw across the country on Thursday. Look at the west. We really saw that nice warming trend below seasonal through central and eastern Canada. And that's going to be a similar story in terms of your temperatures this morning. But we do have a warming trend coming up throughout the weekend and into next week for, well, most of the country. Now, before we get there, though, we are dealing with this extreme cold warning east of Georgian Bay, stretching towards Peterborough and the Kawartha Lakes. And while Toronto is not under that extreme cold warning, I'm sure that Rachel Schutzen is still feeling those cold temperatures. Now, Rachel, before we get into what you're working on today, tell me about our exciting new initiative here, the Weather Selfie.
Oh, yeah, Michelle, I'm glad you brought that up. The weather selfie, that is you on the Weather Network. So we want viewers to send us videos of them talking about the weather. Take your iPhone or your smartphone, take a selfie video of yourself. Tell me how cold it is. Tell me how much you wish March felt like March, and we'll air it on the Weather Network every weekend. So we look forward to your submissions. You can send it to upload.theweathernetwork.com.
That's right, Rachel. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, what a cool initiative, the weather selfie. Kudos to Rachel for thinking that one up. This morning, your wind chills through southern Ontario into the -20s. We do have those moderate winds coming from the southwest. And as we move into northern Ontario, a similar story. We see those temperatures into the minus teens, but again, it's the blues, your feels like temperature that we need to talk about and dress for. Let's head to the east, shall we? Isn't much wind through New Brunswick in terms of your wind chill, though. It is still going to feel cold, though. Frigid air mass is in place. Sustained winds through Atlantic Canada. We are going to see 20 to 40 kilometers coming from the west. Breezy as we move into the afternoon. Blowing snow could be an issue as we move into the afternoon and the weekend for Newfoundland, as are those chilly temperatures. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with for the wind chills through the Maritimes. Halifax this morning, you're going to be waking up to -14, but feeling like the -20s. And again, as we move into New Brunswick, just the no wind chill there, but it is still going to be very cold temperatures, what we'd see on the thermometer into the -20s. Into Quebec, even colder. Montreal, look at that, feeling like -28, but it is clear. So that's the good news, perhaps the price we pay for the sun. Now, as we move into the weekend, we are going to see those temperatures moderate. Look at all of those light blues sweeping into eastern Canada. Coming up, Nicole Karkic joins me for more on your national outlook.
Happy Friday. We'll take a look at your weekend forecast. Our developing stories are cold today, mild tomorrow, windy across the country, and long-range relief.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
Let's begin, Nicole, looking at our current systems across the country. These two clippers, that's going to spark up some snow, not only through the prairies, but into Ontario as we move into the weekend.
Exactly. And we're seeing some freezing rain in and around areas near Edmonton at this point where there are some freezing rain warnings that could spread into Saskatchewan.
Yeah, now we are dealing with cold temperatures as we move into southern Ontario. Those wind chills, they are quite strong.
Yes.
And outside bearing those cold temperatures is Rachel Schutzen in Toronto. Now, Rachel, you've got a pretty exciting morning planned. Yeah,
Getting excited about +5, +6. It's going to feel, I mean, we're going to be peeling off layers. I
know.
I can't wait to not wear my parka.
Me too. It's going to feel downright balmy.
Let's get a pea coat on, people.
All right, but before we get there, of course, we are still dealing with that extreme cold
Yeah,
warning.
so this morning, Barrie towards Peterborough, feeling closer to the -30s this morning. Still cold in southern Ontario, but you're just not in the warning criteria. Saturday, a system comes through, so this will bring in some warmer air along a warm front. We've got some southwest winds, but a bit of snow in the north for Saturday morning. Swings down to cottage country by the afternoon, and then Toronto over towards Kingston. We'll see it later in the day, but a general 2 to 5, Michelle. It's not a terrible amount.
It's not terrible. Driving, through the GTA does get a little bit slow, but nothing extensive. Now, as we move further to the north, the big story, we have an extreme cold warning in place for wind chills coming -50 to -55.
Yeah, that's right. So Iqaluit's included, Pond Inlet as well. That will ease into the afternoon hours. And for the east, we've got high pressure in place, so that's always nice and sunny, but it means that cloud cover can't keep the heat inside the atmosphere. So Montreal, you're feeling like -25. Halifax, -23 this morning.
Yes. Now, Nicole, we're not going to see significant snowfall. Blowing snow is going to be the issue as we move into the day.
That's right, Michelle. We do have winds sustained at about 20 to 40 kilometers an hour across Newfoundland. So blowing snow, yes, an issue. No wind warnings, however, no snowfall warnings at this point. And on Saturday, you will see a little bit of snow around Halifax and Truro, just a light dusting.
That's right. All right, we'll take you to another must-see video. Well, blowing snow could affect your highway and driving conditions today. Sustained winds coming in from the west around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. And we could, of course, have gusts higher than that. As we move through the overnight, we will see those winds increase through the western shores. Again, coming from the west, which means we could see some sea effect snow. In terms of your temperatures, definitely want to make sure you give the car some time to warm up. St. John's this morning, it's going to be feeling like -22 with the wind chill. Good morning, Canada, and happy Friday. The weekend is coming. I'm Michelle Mackey. Let's take a look at the high temperatures that we saw yesterday. Across the country, where we see the oranges, those yellows, that means temperatures were above seasonal. And as we move into Ontario and eastern Canada, lots of blues below seasonal. Also off to a below seasonal start this morning. Minus 14 in the city of Toronto, but those wind chills certainly making it feel colder. And as we move further to the west, you'll see above seasonal even in the morning hours, and that's going to continue as we head into the weekend. An extreme cold warning is in place, though, for areas east of Georgian Bay, Barrie, Peterborough, all included in that area. Wind chills through the morning hours in the minus 30s. Now, while Toronto is not in that extreme cold warning, Rachel Schutzen, you're out on location, and I can imagine you're certainly feeling that wind chill. Thanks so much, Rachel. Yeah, really cool stuff. I had a look online at some of the photos. You definitely want to stick around for that. This morning through southern Ontario, dealing with wind chills into the minus 20s. And as we head further to the north, Sault Ste. Marie getting close to that minus 30 mark. A similar story as we head up through northwestern Ontario. Let's head east now and check in with Nathan Coleman for an incredible story about a seal rescue in Halifax. I love that. The whiskered layered sushi lover, is that what that was? Way to go, Nathan. An incredible story. Here's a look at the winds that we're dealing with through Atlantic Canada, coming from the west, giving us quite a wind chill through Newfoundland and the Maritimes, and blowing snow is also going to be an issue through much of Newfoundland today and into tomorrow. And with these westerly winds, we could very well see some sea effect snow along the western shores of Newfoundland. Well, happy Friday, Canada. Michelle Mackey, joined by meteorologist Nicole Karkic. Both of us very glad it's Friday.
Very glad it's Friday. And a lot of you are probably glad it's the weekend as well. We do have the daylight savings times coming for you on Sunday night. Saturday night.
That's
into
right.
Sunday morning. And just remember to bring those clocks forward. Today it's cold, but mild tomorrow for some. Windy across the country, and we have some long-range relief.
Yeah, and you know what? Spring is on the way. March 20th. I'm ready for it. Here's a look at our current systems across the country. We are watching this Clipper system. It's bringing some rain now into southern Saskatchewan. That should ease by late morning, though.
Exactly. Picked up 15 centimeters of snow. New York City had lots of cancellations yesterday out of LaGuardia Airport. A jet completely slid off of the runway. So a lot going on. That system is cleared out. And left behind, we still have some cold air today, Michelle, in the east, but a sign of some warmer air coming in with these light blues and even some oranges reaching close to southwestern Ontario. That's
right. That jet stream becoming more zonal as we move into the weekend, but unfortunately still dealing with those frigid temperatures to the north. An extreme cold warning is in place for Iqaluit Pond Inlet, with wind chills expected through the morning between minus 50 and minus 55. Exactly. And some extreme cold warnings in Ontario. The criteria a little bit different. We've got it feeling closer to the minus 30s this morning. Barrie as well as Peterborough is included in that. But Michelle, some good news on the horizon. If you're sick of winter, it looks like things are warming up, even, dare we say, above average Tuesday and Wednesday for the daytime high. I'm looking forward to this. This is near bathing suit weather for me after our frigid
You know,
February.
those people who always wear the shorts too early will be out there wearing shorts somewhere in Ontario.
Totally, it's going to happen. But of course, still dealing with those wind chills through northern Ontario into the minus 20 range this morning, and similar as we head through parts of Manitoba. But look at these mild conditions further west.
Not too bad even in Saskatchewan for today, and another calm day on tap for the lower mainland.
Well, thank you so much for making the Weather Network a part of your Friday morning. My name's Michelle Mackey, and here's what we're looking at in terms of our temperatures across the country this morning. We are still dealing with frigid temperatures through eastern and central Canada. But have a look here. The further west we go, those temperatures, they really begin to increase. And good news, Warm temperatures are coming for us for most of Canada for much of the weekend and into next week. But before we get there, we are dealing with an extreme cold warning through Ontario. Areas east of Georgian Bay, including Barrie, the Kawartha Lakes and Peterborough, all under those frigid wind chills, feeling like the minus 30s. Let's head outside now to Rachel Schutzen. Now, Rachel, I don't know if you're anything like me, it's kind of hard to believe that spring is coming when we're dealing with these frigid mornings. Thanks, Rachel. A quick check of our temperatures through the prairies, but in the east, Nathan Coleman has a look at how this winter has affected local business. Well, not much active weather happening in Newfoundland or the Maritimes for that matter as we head into the weekend. High pressure is in place, but we are dealing with those chilly temperatures below seasonal. In terms of the look ahead, the next system that we see bringing us some active weather isn't going to be until next week. So get out and enjoy the weekend. Before midweek Tuesday, we could see some flurries into the Maritime provinces. In terms of your temperatures, well, it's going to be cold. Lots of purples, minus 10.
And those structures put to the test this winter. Nicole and Michelle with you. We've got some good top stories to talk about. Cold today, but mild tomorrow, windy across the country, and some long-range relief, finally.
Yeah, that's right. But you know what? What a great thing to do on the weekend.
That's right, but we do hear some strong winds in that video. You are going to still see some strong winds today across Newfoundland. Those winds sustained at about 20 to 40 kilometers an hour. So some blowing snow, not out of the question, but there's no warnings at this point. It's just a caution for you out there. But some problems here, Michelle. We've got some freezing rain warnings just popped up in Saskatoon within the last hour, around Saskatoon as well, still in place for Whitecourt, Leduc as well.
That's right. And speaking of warnings, we're still under that extreme cold warning for areas in southern Ontario, Barrie, east towards Peterborough, with wind chill values approaching the minus 30s for the morning.
Exactly. And even colder as we go north towards Iqaluit and Pond Inlet, feeling closer to the minus 50s. But at last check, Iqaluit was about minus 48 with the wind chill. So not quite 50, but close enough. This afternoon, it is cold in the east, but so much sunshine for you. A sunny day in Montreal, a sunny day over towards Halifax. But with that high pressure in place, we don't have the clouds, which can help contain a bit of heat out there.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're seeing through southern Ontario, most of Ontario for that matter. This afternoon, temperatures, they are going to be the core temperatures in the minus single digits. But keep in mind, we do have breezy conditions coming from the southwest.
And the cold temperatures. And she said, I can do this. It's been mild. So as we look to this morning, still mild again out west. Lethbridge is at 4 degrees, and not too bad in Saskatchewan, a bit colder in Manitoba. Coming up, more on your national stories.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. What a way as well to get out and actually enjoy the winter. But fear not, it is coming to an end. Spring right around the corner. Michelle Mackey joining you. Let's begin our weather story with a look at our current systems across the country. We are dealing with this Clipper system as it makes its way through the prairies this morning. We could see some freezing rain through southern Saskatchewan just along that warm front, but that should moderate as we move into the afternoon. Let's head now to Waterloo, minus single digits, but we do have an extreme cold warning in place for parts of southern Ontario. In terms of your temperatures, I want you to watch this very carefully. Keep in mind the darker temperatures, darker colors indicates colder temperatures, but watch what happens. We begin to see the brighter colors move in through southern Ontario and portions of the Maritimes as we move into the weekend and beyond. So good news is on the way, folks. An early taste of some more spring-like weather. Here's a look at select cities for the next 3 days. Lots of sunshine, but well, if you're heading to the Bahamas this weekend, here's what you're going to be leaving behind. Saturday across Canada, we are going to be chilly as we head to Atlantic Canada. Also looking at picking up some flurries through Quebec and parts of eastern Ontario. Sunny and getting mild in the west. You can see Regina sitting at minus 4, Vancouver sunny and 6. And as we head to the south, lots of sunshine. Nassau sitting at 29 degrees. Miami a beautiful 27 and sun.